We are going to answer part 2. It says calculate RT. RT is the distance from R to T, the distance between the two ships. So we can call RT X. So we are trying to find X, RT. Now, we've got to make some observations to know which formula we've got to use. First and foremost, we have to look at what type of triangle we are dealing with. Angle RLT is an oblique triangle. So we are dealing with an oblique triangle. So since we are dealing with an oblique triangle, SOHCAHTOA is out of it. So we are left with the sine rule and the cosine rule. So we have to try to continue observing to see which of the two rules you gotta use, either the sine rule or the cosine rule. So now what we observe now, that x now, which of course that's what we are trying to find, is opposite to 83 degrees. X is opposite to 83. No, we are not sure yet if it's sine or cosine because both sine and cosine have the word opposite in it. If we mention the word opposite, if we mention another opposite, then we know it's a sine rule. If we mention the word between, then we know it's the cosine rule we have to use. So I repeat, if we mention another opposite, we know we have to use the sine rule because the sine rule, you must mention opposite twice. But if we mention between, then we know it's the cosine rule we've got to use. So when we observe now, we're going to talk about the values that we were given, that the values that we have to use to find x now. So what we observe now that 83 now is between the 250 and the 180. So therefore now we've got to use the cosine rule. Opposite and between, we have to use the cosine rule. And you may wonder, why is that so? Let's look at the sine and cosine rule. They will be provided to you in the exam. Here they are. It's part of the list of formulas. If we take a close look at them, the nature of the sine rule. Remember, the lowercase letters are the sides and the uppercase letters are the angles. Side A is opposite to angle A. Side B is opposite to angle B. You notice I mentioned the word opposite twice. So therefore, now that's the sine rule. Cosine rule. Side A is opposite to angle A. But angle A is between B and C. So that is why now we know we've got to use the cosine rule. So here we are proceeding to write it down. A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared subtract 2BC cosine of angle A. X will replace the letter A in our case. B can be 250 or 180, doesn't matter. C, since we put B for 250, we have to put C for 180 times 2 minus 2 times 250 times 180 times cosine of 83. This, you can type this straight off in your calculator and you will get your answer. But let's go step by step. Let's do 250 squared plus 180 squared. But practice typing this one time in your calculator to get what is x squared in one attempt. Please practice this. Very important to save time. Now 250 squared plus 180 squared give me 94,900, and 2 times 250 times 180 give me 90,000. Now you cannot subtract 90,000 from 94,900 because multiplication comes before subtraction. There's a multiplication between 90,000 and cosine of 83. Unless these have not been done, subtraction cannot happen. Please do not make that mistake when you are using this formula. We cannot subtract 94,900 by 90,000 because 90,000 is not by itself. 90,000 is being multiplied, and multiplication comes before subtraction when it comes to BEMDAS. Here it is. The Americans use this in this symbol. They use it as the name they give it is parenthesis. We call it brackets. That's why we have B, but they call it parenthesis. So that's why they have PEMDAS. Parenthesis, exponents, multiplication, division, because they are interchangeable. Addition, subtraction, they are interchangeable. So multiplication comes before subtraction. Okay? So we must multiply before we subtract. We cannot subtract yet. Please bear that in mind. So what we can do is to multiply 90. Well, that's negative 90,000. All right, that's a negative 90,000 times cosine of 83. Let's see what we get. Well, let's get cosine of 83 first. Cosine of 83 is 0.2495 to 4 decimal places. This is why now you should be able to type this straight off in your calculator, because the calculator know about PEMDAS or BEMDAS, however you want to call it. Okay? So therefore now, if we're doing it step by step, okay, let's do 90,000 times 0.2495. But you can type in your calculator 94,900 minus 90,000 times 0.2495, and you'll get your answer right away to save time. Okay? So I got 22,455. So let us subtract 94,900 by 22,455. That's 72,455. And now to find x now, we square root 72,455. And this gives an answer of 269.156. So therefore now, RT is 269.156 to 3 decimal places kilometers. That will be RT.